Welcome to Beryl and Tia. Conversations with grown women. Tia?
I'm Tia.
I'm Beryl.
Yeah, I'm Tia.
Tonight, we're going to talk about Black love. And we've got people that have been married here a number of years. And we're going to answer some questions and give you some advice. What do you say, Tia?
I'm all for the advice. So if everybody's wondering, yeah, I'm the single one. No partner over here. But Brian told me tonight he's coming. So y'all just watch out. Next time we do this, it's going to be on. Yeah. It'll be somebody like right here.
right there. Right there.
I'm going to introduce
here. Oh, yeah.
I'm going to introduce my guest. Byron Chambers, Mr. Talkbox himself.
Mr. Talkbox. Right, all right.
Awesome. Tamara Chambers.
Tamara.
Byron, of course, he's a musician. This is why he got all the energy. And he'll tell you a little bit more about himself and his awesome wife. And Tia, introduce your guests.
So our other guests are doctors, Brian and Cicely Randolph. Yeah, see, the real heavy hitters I'm talking about.
Real heavy hitters.
They are like the super couple. They ministered together. They ministered together. Brian, they got their doctorate together. And yeah, I would tell y'all they started after me and they finished, and I'm still trying to get through it.
It's all good. Just stick with it, sister. Stick with it.
That's right. You got it.
You got it. That's right. We don't want to tell you how long it was.
Yes.
Leave that part out.
Yeah.
But I mean, of course,
if I had another one right here, I might would have gone through it like them. But it's just me.
Gotta be each other's cheerleaders.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Brian, so we have my husband tonight, Beryl and Thomas. That's a conversation in itself. So we got
right. Guys are wavy.
Yeah, that's okay.
So this is the conversation, and thank you all for coming. We're going to answer some questions, and if you have any other comments, just talk it through, because we have all these young people asking questions. They don't know how to maneuver. Would you agree? I think all of you have marriage ministries in your own way. Is that correct?
Yes.
That's right. Yes. Everybody has a little marriage.
Oh, yeah, I said yes, but no, not me. Yeah.
Whether you want it or you not, you don't.
Yeah, my marriage ministry is different from y'all. Yeah.
Information. So
okay.
You just become that person, whether you desire to or not.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Each of you tell a little bit about yourselves. Byron and Tamara, give us a little overview about yourselves.
Yeah. You want to do?
Okay. So obviously Byron and Tamara, we've been married now for 25 years. We recently moved out the house actually a couple of weeks ago.
Yay.
We're high school sweethearts. We met in high school.
Oh.
Wow.
About years ago, and we have 3 young adult children. We've been just kind of sticking in here with each other since high school, and God has been great. He's just been blessing us to continue on this journey together, and we've been choosing to stay in the journey together. So that's the main point. We've been choosing to stay together all the time.
There you go. Okay.
I love it.
Yes.
Good. I love it. All right, doctors. Brian, what's up?
All right. You want to do the honors?
Okay, I will. Okay, so Brian and I have been married. It will be 28 years this year.
Yes.
So we started off early. We were not high school sweethearts. However, we met while we were in college, 2 different colleges.
Y'all get props though.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that later. I don't understand how people can go from high school. I thought that was an old school thing, but it's happening more and more.
Yeah. And that's cool, because I don't even remember people from high school. So y'all get big thumbs up.
Yeah, for sure.
So so we met while we were in college, actually at church. He was attending one church, and then I ended up coming and becoming a member there. And so we started off as friends, hit it off real nice, and he will tell the story that I gave him like the side eye and pushed him away.
Yeah.
I don't think like that, but that's his story. So when he said that, but we ended up together because he's such a great guy, and we just friends, started off as friends, and just went to different things together, had the same likes, stayed on the phone for hours at a time.
Oh,
You
yeah.
can imagine.
Oh, yeah.
And then it just blossomed into other things. So we've been together now we were together for about 3 years before
Right.
we got married.
Mhm.
So I guess a total of 30 years now. So
Right.
I can't even imagine saying that. I
Right,
realize that, but yeah.
Yeah, two adult kids,
Yeah.
24 and 22. Our
Yeah.
daughter
Mhm.
20,
Wow.
and our son Elijah is 22. And man, it has been incredible. And I love what you said. We are choosing to say this thing, because we can choose another way. We can choose something else, but we choose to love each other and get better. And it's a constant renewing of the minds and just getting to, getting in tune with each other. Because I don't want to get ahead of myself, but we're gonna let you we're gonna let you get out. I love talking about this stuff. I just love Black love, man. That's real.
I feel that.
That's right. I appreciate that. Well, we're Bell
Yeah.
and Thomas, and Thomas wants to tell his side of the story. I have a different side of the story. Go ahead, Thomas.
Well, this is the official side.
That's it, bro. That's it. Yeah.
Well, Beryl was the first female attorney in Lake County, African American anyway. And she had won this huge case, and it made the news. And I was like, man, who is this powerhouse? And
That ain't what you said.
I said,
talk about that
I
later.
had another word in front of house. It was
Keep it 100 with us, Thomas. Go ahead, let us know.
Let him use it.
And so anyway, she invited me to speak at a jail that she had a speaking engagement. But because I was going back and forth to Los Angeles at the time, it slipped through the cracks, and it was 2 years before I got the message.
Wow.
I'm going to clarify.
Clarify.
So I called her, and her reception picked up, and I left a message with her. So she called me back that Monday. I said, well, man, what took you 2 days to return my call? So she started laughing. She goes, wait a minute, it took you 2 years to my request. So I said, okay, how can I make it up? Because, she goes, oh, well, all right. Tuesday, I'm going to be speaking again. You can meet me there. So I met her there. And when she was introducing me, she said, now, a lot of you may know this gentleman. You might know his music. I don't really know him personally. And so when I got up, I said, well, I don't really know her personally either, but I feel like I know her in the spirit.
Can't say no to that.
Okay.
And I didn't know she had been praying to meet her husband and to know him in the spirit before she actually got to know him.
Wow.
Wow.
I learned this afterwards, obviously I didn't know at that time, but
Wow.
in the parking lot, we just kept talking like you guys,
Wow.
just couldn't stop talking. And like every time I got, well, okay, I'll see you later. Next thing you know, we're talking another 10, 15 minutes. It was like 2-3 hours in the parking lot.
Wow.
Like, I was like, ow.
Ah. What's up?
Wow.
Be tough.
Years is correct. Now, I met him, engaged to another young lady, very pretty, and she had this dynamic diamond on her hand.
But she wasn't a brick house, though.
And she went,
That's the real house.
That's it, yeah.
Okay.
but he kept looking at me though. I invited him to speak at our church. I was very active in youth department. That was in 1991.
Yeah.
Can you imagine somebody contacting you in 1993?
Well,
1993.
Well, there was no internet. There was no internet, so
Right.
yeah,
come on, bro. Help me
that's
out.
good. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to help. Throwing your lifeline.
Well, he was charming.
You could have called.
Yeah.
You could have called. Bro.
Yeah, really.
Actually, we met and married in less than 90 days.
Wow.
Wow.
And
Wow.
that was
He made
30
up for
years
that
ago.
2-year gap. He made up for that.
That's right. There
And
you go.
we've been married 30 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right. All right.
Wow.
All right.
We got married older. I was 35, and I don't know what he told me how old he was, but he was.
Wow.
Did you add that?
Amazing.
That's amazing.
Trying to count it up.
And he was over 40.
Black don't crack.
That's right.
It don't crack. Y'all look amazing.
Boy, black-
Man.
Black
Hey.
show don't crack.
It
Yeah,
sure
right.
don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Y'all look like y'all 30 and 40 right
Thank
now.
you. Man, yeah.
Thank you, Doc.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
We were
Woo!
told 7 children. I had 5, raised 6, and he had one of his first marriage, wonderful, blended, and that is.
I woke up, it was a house full of people. I'm like, who are all these people I'm sending to private school?
They were everywhere. So that's our story. And so we've
Wow.
been using ever since. Isn't that something?
That is
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
That's powerful.
Yeah, God is good.
Less than 90 days. And Mike
Wow.
out there talking to me because he had stars in his eyes.
That's right, baby.
Hey.
Hey, when you know, you know. When you know,
Exactly. When you know, you know. Yeah.
That's an important thing.
That's why you knew in high school, you know,
Mhm.
okay?
she knew before me.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like
Conversation about that, about knowing, because
Yes.
people they stay in these relationships dating for 5 and 7 and 10 years.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right.
About the knowing and how you guys operate. I think it's a good conversation.
Yeah, it is.
How men think. Come on, who goes first?
yeah. What was it? It cut out. You said, how do we operate?
Yeah, how guys operate. You said you knew.
Oh yes. So you
Well, in high school, so I actually literally heard the Holy Spirit say that was my husband.
Wow.
And the funny thing about that is I wasn't even saved at the time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I
Right.
heard it and I knew that it was true. I mentioned it to him like one time. He kind of looked at me funny. And so I never said it again. But I just, in the back of my head, I always knew that was my husband. So I was like, okay, if this is my husband, Lord,
Yeah.
whatever happens, I trust that that's a true statement. So,
yeah.
And
then I let's fast forward. I would say 4 years in. Yeah, so it was like probably like 4. Was it 4? It was probably 4 years in or less. I'm not sure, but that moment that I knew, I started telling everybody. I started telling my family,
yeah.
like, I'm about to marry this girl. I gotta marry her. Cause like I knew, I was like, that was this peace that came over me. I always had it with her, but there was this overwhelming peace that I knew I had to go and put a ring on it, because if I don't put this ring on this, I'm gonna lose her. So I went ahead and I asked her to marry me, and here we are 5 years later.
That's awesome.
Wow.
And I don't think we probably should have gotten married earlier, because it was just me, but like how y'all story is, like we were 2 peas in the pot. We were best friends. Like it was not pulling us back from getting married. You know what I'm saying? We were young, but it was like we should have been did this.
Right, exactly. Wow, incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Okay, Brian, what's your take on this when a man knows?
I know that's what's. Come on, Brian. Let us know.
You just know, and I know that sounds really
Cliche, but
Yeah.
but there's something in you that lets you know this is the person I can spend the rest of my life with. It's this person. Guys are simple, and we just want. Well, let me say
oh, tell it, Brian.
But there's only 3 things we really want.
Yeah,
How does she relates to me? how she relates to my mama, or my family, and how good does she look.
Come
That's
on.
the first. Those are the first three things that hooked me.
Yeah, because
Okay.
men are sight stimulated. That's
We're
right.
sight
That's
stimulated.
right.
You're right.
Right.
And those other two things, you know, I just put them in there to sound official, but it's really that how she looked.
That's right.
So once you get past that, you're delving deeper because you want to know if there's some connection in. And sometimes it can happen all at once. You don't have to wait.
Mm.
And it sounds like everybody on here tonight had that all at once moment.
Oh,
You just
absolutely.
never knew. And if you're compatible, if you're friends, like she said, we talked a lot, we dated. Look, I want to back up and tell this the right way though. She did. We're born on the same day. We're born on January 1st. And you know,
Different years.
yeah, we were in watch night service, and y'all know about that. And
Yes, sir.
That's
she stood up to say that she was thankful for another year. Now I'm already looking at her, Byron. I'm okay. All right. I got it. It's my birthday too. So I walked up to her. That's when the side eye came. He's lying. I pulled my license out. I said, "Look, I'm dead serious."
I don't remember all that.
She wasn't buying. She was
You
not.
thought you were pulling a line on her.
Yeah.
Exactly.
My birthday too.
So lo and behold, 7 months later, I passed her through this 4th of July party, and we're at this 4th of July gala, or I don't know, cookout,
Like a house party.
your house party, and she didn't have a ride home. So I'm waiting around, looking up, saying, "Okay, he ain't gonna take her home. He ain't got no car. He ain't gonna." I'm setting it up. 7 months now. It's something about that 7, ain't it? It's something about that.
I didn't even think about that. But
Right?
that's true, yeah.
So lo and behold, I took her home. So we had a good 45 minutes to talk, and everything. And from there, man, we just built this beautiful relationship. And honestly, those thoughts might have been in the back of my mind, but it was truly just us connecting and getting to know each other old school way, going to the movies, going out. My thing is restaurants, loving to find these hole in the wall places and, just doing stuff like that, taking her to, places that she normally would not go.
Right.
And we had a ball, but I knew that night, the first night I met her, I just knew. And I'm being totally honest here. It's not, it's not anything. You just see a person. I'm not saying love at first sight, but you just know this is somebody I'm digging right now. And
I do know that asking for a ride, it's always a good thing. Because I asked her to pick me up from the airport, and
that's the old school player move.
I gotta go back to Los Angeles, and I don't want to leave my car at the airport for no 2 weeks.
Right.
Can you come pick me up, baby, when I'm back in town? Well, she sent her darn assistant.
She was one step ahead of you.
She didn't get the memo.
Yes.
She didn't get the memo. That's why you gotta let them know. Don't let them get away. But man, I'm telling you, that's what it is. We just know, and I'm sure the men on here, we'll agree. If you're being totally honest, there's something you see that first time you meet.
Right.
There's this thing that we've been doing this thing. We lead a marriage life group, and the topic is the 5 love languages a guy named Gary Chapman. I'm sure y'all have heard of it. But he talks about the tingling feeling. He calls it the tingling. And I believe that we all have experienced that feeling, that tingling feeling, that once in a lifetime feeling that you only get with that one person. You know what I'm saying? Right. It feels like it's just deep. It's very deep. Like for me, it was very deep. Like I still feel it for her today. And it was like, I still feel it. And it's like, it's that feeling of, it's from the man side, it's that feeling of, I want to protect her. I want to make sure she's happy. I want to make sure she's smiling. I want to cover her. I want to make sure that nothing is wrong in her world. I just want her to be a queen. And I think, like you said, I love what you said, Brian, man, it's all in one. You get this it's like you get locked in immediately.
You're right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what happened with me.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Y'all know I'm taking notes now. I'm taking copious notes here. I'm taking really good notes.
Write it down. Sis,
I
write
put a
it
check
down.
on ask for a ride. Tried that one, didn't work. He's like, no. Okay, what about the no? So I'm gonna keep trying all these things. So y'all keep pouring in.
So Thomas, from a man's point of view,
Yeah, come on, Thomas.
Well, okay, it's amazing. I listen to all the guys, and they are absolutely right. You, no matter how many other girls you talk to or you've seen or whatever, when that one comes that just,
from Leesburg, Florida.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. But the thing that is so comforting, since God created us all, we have, if we can recognize each other and have the image of God and recognize that image of God in each other.
Yes.
And I think that was one of the things too that sort of made me go, because one thing for sure, spiritually, if you're not connected, no matter how much that physical thing attracts you, eventually it's not gonna last.
It's not gonna last.
That's right. And so, and thanks to the prayers of my parents and having an example to watch and to see,
Yeah.
and to see how they went through all of the various valleys, but then there's always that mountain that you could always see them saying, "Oh, hey, but we made it."
Yeah.
Yep. Top moments, I'm telling you.
It's that's powerful, because there's nothing more gratifying than to look back into those seasons of where it could have went left or right.
That's right.
And you decided to say, we're gonna anchor down in here, we're gonna stay, we're gonna keep going. Because there were times we definitely been through that. There was a time where my wife was just like, I'm about to pack up and leave.
That's real. That's real.
That's real talk. She was out. She was done.
Yeah.
That's right. That's absolutely right. And the reason why I was asking you all this to kind of round it off is that we find people who've been together in relationships for 10 years, 5 years, 7 years. And basically what you're telling me, you guys, from my perspective, she ain't it. And he has not married you all this time.
Yeah.
Right.
Come on now.
I mean, that's what you're telling me.
That's right.
Yeah, it doesn't take long. It doesn't take long. I feel like I love what you said, Thomas. Like God has given us all. We all have it. We all have discernment. We all have, people might call it the universe, whatever. I call it the Holy Spirit. I know I like to move when the Holy Spirit says move. Like we all feel it, but we have a choice to make. We have a choice to either do it or don't do it. Like, like our good friend used to say, delayed obedience is still disobedience. So you gotta move when you feel that moment, that tingling. That's what happened with me when I wanted to marry her. My mom thought I was crazy. Everybody thought I was going crazy. But I was like, this is the time, this is the moment, I got to do it right now. And here we are 25 years later.
Isn't that amazing?
I want to go on that. Byron is an entertainer, and you will hear him on Bruce. What's the guy's name?
Bruno Mars.
Bruno Mars.
Beginning. He's gonna talk about, I forgot who it was, Tom.
I'm glad you forgot.
She's
It's
a
all
lawyer.
right.
She's a lawyer.
It's okay.
And a bunch of other Christian groups. So what makes these relationships remarkable in ours is that, and Tamara, you would agree that being in the entertainment world with a husband is a different animal altogether. Would you agree?
Most definitely. That's a whole different ball game.
Yes.
A lot of obstacles are kind of that's thrown at you, and
Yeah.
a lot more opportunities for stuff to go left.
So I got a question. And just even with that, it seems, I'm speaking from the other side now, that in a marriage, there's so many opportunities for things to go left. So this is for the women. The men, y'all answered the other question. When you get to that mountain and it seems like, okay, this is about to be the split,
Mhm.
how do you say, okay, we're together, we're going to conquer that marriage? Because, sometimes you get there to that mountain, it's like, look, I don't have nothing else to say. I'm out.
Yeah.
How do you get to that mountain where those opportunities are easier to go than to stay? What do you do?
Good question. Good question from the
Like,
chat.
For me, honestly, and it's not a cliche saying, I really had to lean into my faith.
Mhm.
I leaned into my faith, and I held on to what God told me, that He was my husband, because I did come to that point where, okay, I'm done. I had to unpack my bag, the baby bag, and I was leaving. The Holy Spirit quickly reminded me, that's your husband.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that's my husband, and you need to fix this.
Woo!
And that's how I back to
Okay.
God, like, you need to fix it because I can't do this no more. And I was
Wow.
like, so I really had to lean into that. It wasn't easy. And I had to keep, it's kind of like when you have to forgive somebody, you have to keep forgiving them over and over again. I had to keep reminding myself daily, okay, you stand for a reason. You're supposed to be here. It's supposed to be, you guys supposed to be together.
Yeah.
And with each, as the season went on, through that tough period, it got better and better and better. And also, once he made his changes, I saw the change and I saw the growth. I saw, okay, he's serious now. Okay, he's actually putting the work in. So it made it worth the effort of staying.
And if I can interject, I know this is the women's side,
Okay,
but
go ahead. Yep.
I would love to just throw this in there because it's so good. What the thing that changed my heart was I had to remember that God sees me 24/7. She doesn't see me 24/7.
Right.
And God me all the time. And if I learn to please God, then He will speak to her heart and help her heart heal. And at the same time, God is healing me. God is healing our marriage, all at the same time. The key is we got to be willing to let Him in, because we're control freaks.
Yep.
As a human race, we want to control everything.
Right there.
But let that prayer go to God, and you do the work. Put the work in. Start daily trusting each other again. Say, okay, when it's get hard, say, no, I'm gonna trust. I'm gonna trust you, God. I'm gonna trust my spouse. I'm gonna, whatever. Like, just put that work in, and then you'll start seeing the benefits of when you get to that peak where it's about to explode.
Yeah. And I always say that if even outside of relationships, when you become the kind person, it's difficult for the other person to stay and not become different. And so they're gonna do two things when you go into, or they're gonna flee. Right? Yeah. So when you stand strong on your faith, Tamara, thank you for that, because then the other person gonna have to change. Okay, Cicely, what's your strategy? What was your strategy?
I guess I'm similar to Tamara. Same thing. We had, a few things that happened, some decisions that were made outside of us discussing them. So
okay, this is the hard part, Cicely, because I always thought her and Brian was like the mega couple. They don't know, nothing ever go wrong with them.
Right.
I never get my tissue because I was like,
yeah. So like the last time I shared with you that we had some issues. We had an issue, and it really, it really broke not just us, but the kids, because it involved the family as a whole.
Yeah.
So trying to overcome that, I leaned on my faith, but like I mentioned the last time we talked, I went and decided that let me go to therapy. And it's nothing wrong with that. People need to understand that sometimes you need somebody else. I'm not talking about I go to God. Yes, He's good. Go to your pastor. They good too. But sometimes you need just an outside person that's not necessarily speaking to you from a spiritual sense, but can still talk to you with some good common sense and help you understand your thought process and why you're thinking about things a certain way, and why, maybe you can look at it from this perspective because you're only seeing it from your point of view. So that's what I would encourage people to do, and then, also, we have been married for 20 some years. Why now is this going to pop? So you got to ask yourself, am I going to stay or am I going to go? I have committed too much time to this. I'm not going to sit here and leave just, for this one little hiccup. Oh, we could get over this, So that's the way you got to think about it. We took those vows. They mean something. You made a covenant before God. So you got to make sure that you stick to what you said and do what you need to do to make it work.
Say that, sister. That's good.
Say that. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was almost packing my bag.
Yeah,
too.
so it was the
I had-
opposite. You
I had
packed
my
his
coat.
bag. Yes,
my
yes,
hat,
yes.
and the leaves.
What?
yes.
I was,
Hey,
I
good
was
old
out
Coke, Doc.
there.
I know,
And my-
Brian, what you say? Where we going? Where we going?
My old pastor, my previous pastor told his wife after 50 years of marriage, he told you better not go and you better not stay. I mean, they got it into one of them things, one of them arguments. Yeah, I was like, oh boy, that's a classic. You better not go and you better not stay.
I told her, I said, if she tries to go, I'm gonna find a way in one of her suitcases.
That's right.
I'm gonna be right there behind her.
Where we going, baby?
Where we going?
Yeah,
I reminded my wife just the other day when that happened, how she any other time she can't get off work. She cannot get off. She works from home. I ain't getting off the job. I got these meetings today. Da, da, da. She was at my job. I said, what are you doing here? She came and sat in my office. I'm at a new position. I ain't want the folks to see I'm having issues at the crib. He walks right in. How you doing, Mr. White Man? How you doing, Mr. And walk right on in there and chat with us. I said, what are you doing here? I came to see my husband. I put on that shirt I liked, the jeans I liked. She was on a mission.
Yeah. Okay.
And sometimes you got to be about.
Sometimes you got to
That's
do
right.
it.
It wasn't even covert. She was out.
Okay, Beryl, tell us your side.
So
everybody turn the microphone. Make sure they hear it. Oh, in my side, when there were hiccups, tend to get a little bit more aggressive, like, basic.
Harry Tubman. Harry Tubman.
Yeah.
And then, real basic, in the name of Jesus.
Sister Soldier. I call her Sister Soldier.
Let me see if I was quoting the scripture. Now, I ain't quoting no scriptures.
Probably
They're
not.
looking for other things. And with that hiccup,
Yeah.
kill were the only words that came to me. But I wasn't going anywhere. And he wasn't going anywhere. And I think with what you said, it's choosing to be there. There's only a hiccup. And the reason why I respond, even you said you respond about this, that, and the other. The reason why, as a divorce lawyer, so often people putting on that plastic face. You know how they do on Christian television?
Yeah. Oh, she did that part.
Looking
That
at
was
the husband,
perfect.
you are so right. You are so right.
That was the perfect face.
Real, I want people to know that we're authentic.
Yeah.
And that there will be in our everyday situations where we're not agreeable, but we still stay there and we love each other. And that you don't have to, as this is fake. And people are drawn to you by your authenticity.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, they are.
And I've learned, my mother was,
That's good.
be quick to forgive. Now, it's the forgetting part might be a problem. But
That
forget is good. And we have to talk about that forgetting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that's a mic drop moment because that right there, I'm telling you something. That is a design. Unforgiveness is a design to have you basically in a chokehold for the rest of your life if you don't let it go quickly.
Yes.
The longer it festers, it turns into all kinds of different things that you don't need in your life. It's toxic. Yeah, it's very toxic. It's not good. We got to learn how to forgive quickly. Because every day somebody is checking out of here. And we don't know when it's our last time. We don't know. We just have to live life to the fullest, love hard, and learn how to forget. I love that you said that. That's a very powerful statement.
Yeah, which makes it easier. I mean, as a wife and as a defender, I'll whip anybody for Thomas. In the courtroom, outside the courtroom, that is my man. I got you, Cicely. That's my man. And we're the only one that can do something. I the camera. You're the only one. Camera kind of quiet. She's coming out.
But now see, I've gotten too old to fight, so I can't fight for my man like that.
Everybody-
We're gonna have to
Don't
do
say
another,
that.
we're gonna have to do something different.
It'll come out.
It'll come
That
out.
Mama Bear coming.
That's right, Mama Bear. I mean, that's my baby. That's my boo. That's
That's
my,
right.
that's mine right there. I'm very
right.
loyal to him because I know he loves me. I'm very loyal. So through all of that, you know, the loyalty does come out. You know, you go this way, and I dare you to come any further. I'll get you. I'm from Leesburg. I'm a little strong. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's great. And you know, God knew that Thomas needed that. You know what I'm saying? Like that's why y'all are together.
Yes.
And yeah, I'll pat you on the back on this one. My wife's the same way. We were on a tour and we had this promoter that was, I mean, this guy was blatant, he was blatantly racist. So he was putting me and my band, and it's putting us in a very uncomfortable position. So my wife this tour had already started and she was coming out later. So she came out to the show where he was really cutting the food. And when I tell you she lit that brother up and all you saw was just she called them crocodile tears, but she lit him up and it just gave me so much peace because, you know, as an entertainer, you know, you're trying to get in that space, you got to go before these people. But she in there and just handled that situation. It just, for me, it just, it liberated, you know, not that I knew she was going to do it, but I'm just saying, just in that moment, it just liberated, it liberated me and my love and respect for her and how much she love and respects me. And it's just a blessing, like to have that. Everybody deserves to be loved and respected in a relationship.
That's right. And you know, as creative people, you know, we're sensitive, you know, to the creativity. And
oh my gosh.
You know, and to have that stern partner who got your back, you know,
yes,
it frees you up to stay creative and do what you do.
Absolutely.
So sister, how do you defend this big man? Tell me what you do.
I think I'm kind of a quiet storm because it's a little different. He has a lot of female friends, you know. So a lot of people come around and they think that I'm gonna be like this big bad, you know, person. Oh, your wife probably don't want you hanging around. No, I just go and make myself a friend too.
Yes,
so I just I just come up in the mix with the rest of them as well.
This is my happy hour. What?
Just to let them know, he can hang out with y'all too. I'm fine with that. But sometimes I'm gonna have to show my face, you know, and make my presence known. So, so it works, you know, and then I become friends with the ladies, and we end up having some type of mentorship, or you know, I don't even know how I'm impacting their lives in, you know, certain ways. I'm just being myself, and I don't come off aggressive. I don't come off, you know, like I'm, you know, he my husband, you can't, all that. I don't do that. I come in, I'm very sweet and kind to people. I think, I mean, he could tell you. And then it just blossoms into relationships with them as well. So then we all now big old family, and it's not just him with them, it's us with them.
Correct.
You know, so
that is great.
And I love the way she did that. I don't come in here making announcements. I want to let you know I'm here. I am here.
That's what she does every time.
You my friend.
That's her.
But you know what? That's a very powerful thing too, because it not only sends a signal to them that this man has a strong woman beside him. It also sends a signal that, as you know, as women, I love that, because you know, women could, you know, they're just friendly, you know. And then when you come in, boom, they say, oh, okay, and it knocks out all the possibilities. I like to say it knocks out all the possibilities of Satan lifting his head in between y'all's marriage.
And see, that's one of the things that
did happen. You know, one person, we were friends, we were close, and I told him, I said, you know, and I spoke to him, and I said, she getting a little too close. You know, some things that I see, and I knew her. We were friends too, but I felt like, you know, she was she had access to him, so she was feeling some kind of way. I didn't have to say nothing. I told him to put that in check because technically I need to make you aware that I see. And I want you to be aware, so
That
you
I
can be
see.
watchful
Right.
when
Yeah.
you see certain things that you don't act a certain way and make her think that, yeah, you know, she has some access to you that way. So
Right,
mhm.
right,
Yeah.
right.
So that's one of the things I call boundaries.
Yes.
Especially,
it.
and it's very important when you are single
Yeah.
and there are, you know, there's married people around. You want to make sure that that's one of the boundaries that you have. That if I'm your friend, I'm your wife's friend too.
Yeah.
If you-
Right.
It works.
You
It
got to be
works.
your wife's friend too. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And
So
you have to
and
have,
those
yeah, you have to
boundaries
be a
are very
team with
important.
that commitment, because
Oh,
if
absolutely.
you don't, they can, like you said, the devil can slip right in.
Oh,
If
yeah.
you're behind the front, it doesn't happen.
Mhm.
And I
Absolutely.
know when it's too much, so I pull away, or I run. I get
Mhm.
up out of there like Joseph.
Joseph.
I had this road. I'm out of here. So, you just have to know. You have to know yourself. You
Yeah,
have to know,
'cause-
and I thank God for her, because she does. She really is on point with that. And it's not overbearing. It's not one of those things where you come and our guests in our home or wherever we may be don't feel uncomfortable, because she does it in such a cool way that
Absolutely.
we're able to just keep on. And before we know it, we're ministering to them.
Mhm.
And that's the calling on our life anyway. So we just walk in that calling. But as all pastors, all ministers, all people in the church or wherever you're at, they're gonna come music. They're gonna come at you.
Mhm.
Yes.
You gotta have that silent, that silent buffer to get them out of it.
That's right.
Gotta shake them up.
Yeah.
So yeah, it works. It
But
works.
you know,
You know,
that is, go ahead, I'm sorry.
we're going to go on to the next one about, and just very brief, you kind of touched on it. What does the word choosing to stay in the marriage mean to you? Choose. That was a very important word. We're going to do that briefly. Choice. Thomas, you want to start what choosing means to you?
Yes. First of all, the enemy has a way of trying to isolate you.
Yeah.
So that he can have your undivided attention. And so that he can whisper and only you, have the ability to make that decision and say, you know what? I need to not become isolated, because there's, and then of course, once you have made that decision, and sometimes that could be in a lot of different ways, that isolation is not necessarily physical, but sometimes, mentally, you have blocked out a certain, and you go into that mental state of being isolated. And that's dangerous, So making a choice to not be isolated and to be a conduit to and having flexibility and openness to the truth, and even if the truth hurts sometimes, but making that choice to say, you know what, I'm not a like the guy says, it takes a team, and sometimes as men, we get that macho thing and like, I don't need nobody, I can do this. But choosing to say, you know what, it's strength in numbers.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
All right. Thank you. All right, Brian, what you got on that? Choosing.
yes.
It's cheaper to keep her.
Okay.
I know that sounds. I know y'all weren't expecting that.
No.
Let me break it down. I'm not talking about financially.
Okay.
I'm talking about emotionally. I'm talking about spiritually. I'm talking about the connection that we have. As she said, we built this thing together.
Yes.
We took time. We put in the work, blood, sweat, tears. That equity. We put that in. And for you to say, you know what, I'm just going to give all this up, I can't do that. Anytime I spend over 5 years doing something, I'm committed. I am committed. I'm going
Ooh.
to stay there and finish the course.
Yeah.
There is no way that I'm going to let something disrupt my destiny. I'll say it that way. And I just believe that with us being together, the way that tingling feeling, as you said, bro, all those things that has happened over and over in our lives, I have more good than I have bad.
Mm.
I want to keep that good coming. I want to keep that good around me. So I choose good. I don't choose bad. I choose happiness. I don't choose to be sad. I'm not rapping. I'm just saying it's just rhyming because it's spiritual. I'm fully committed.
Come on, Real.
I am fully committed. I'm a lifetime member. I got my card. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So there is nothing that's going to keep me from always thinking I got to learn somebody all over again. Somebody got to see my toes. And I like stuff a certain way in the bathroom. I don't want you cooking that food. You know, I don't like that show. Don't make me watch this. All that I'm thinking about. I choose comfort because I ain't gonna choose all that other stuff that I got to do all over again. And my kids, I choose happiness for my kids because if you think she got a side on, my daughter is the worst.
Yeah.
I'll cut you. My son tells it like it is. Dad, you tripping.
That's what I'm talking about.
You know,
Yeah.
so I choose happiness.
You choose happiness.
Okay.
All right.
That's good. That's good.
Byron,
That's good.
now, Byron, did I already do Byron?
No.
Byron,
No.
go ahead. All right, you and Tamara use the word choose.
When I hear the word choose,
And you're a musician now, and you out there on the road now. Now tell me, we know
Trying
what.
to set you up,
exactly.
Yeah.
What makes me turn away from all of that, that comes with the industry and that comes with entertaining, and then having somewhat of some status, you know, I decided that first and foremost that I want to please God.
Mm.
And one of the biggest ways to please God is to honor my wife and to love, respect, and choose her first. Is the most important relationship outside of my relationship with him is her. And so
there you go.
that was it. I said, when I caught that revelation, I'm like, I love how he said, I got a lifetime membership card. That's it. I'm locked in. I'm choosing peace. When I choose her, I'm choosing happiness. When I choose her, I'm choosing joy. I'm choosing love when I'm with her, and also our kids. Like I love how you said that too. Our kids, you know.
Yeah.
I just that's what I'm subscribing to. So.
All right. That sounds good. We got a next question for you, unless Tia has one.
What? See, mine. We gonna have to do this again because I got some like really heavy questions. Like everybody said, unforgiveness. You know, or forgiveness. Okay, so you know, we talk about forgiveness. What does forgiveness really mean? Because Beryl said, "I forgive, but I don't forget."
I do forget. As I said, it just takes a little longer to forget.
Oh, okay.
I do forget. You can't help
about what forgiveness really looks like and commitment.
You have to forget. Yeah, you have to forget.
So yeah, because see, those are some long term. Because when we talk about commitment, everybody has a different idea of commitment. Because you know, y'all blew me away with the whole mountain answer. Because I don't know, the commitment take you to the mountain and be like, okay, look, you go on that side, I'm gonna go on this side.
You got them valley moments too.
Yeah.
Commitment take you. You know, so those are some things. But so I want us to come back so we can talk about that. And I know that forgiveness thing, that's deep. You know, people always say, oh, well, I forgive, but I forget. And soon as something happens that reminds you of what happened back then, it's like, what? Oh, we at the mountain again.
Yeah.
Exactly.
One more time. So is that really forgiveness? So Beryl, go ahead and ask your question. We just
actually it is because the Bible says it was 70 times 70. So it is already established. It's going to take more than one time. It's going to take more than two times. And
that's wisdom.
It takes 70 times. It's going to take a little bit. But the issue is how many times are you going to lift that weight? You got to, if you want to follow Jesus, you got to keep on. with that 70 times 7. And I think most of us have not completed the entire 70 times 7
70,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah. So that's what it is. There's nothing automatic in it. I did have a question as we go on. As a young person, I mean, right now, what do you wish someone would have told you before you got married?
Oh,
What
that's
information?
good. That's good.
Ooh, that's good.
What,
Yeah.
Tom? What do you wish they would have told you?
Well, you know, I wish they would have told me that having, you know, let me think about this because
I got one.
oh yeah, go ahead, Brian. Because
Okay.
Oh, I got
one of the things that, you know, my dad, for instance, wasn't a talker. Okay, he was
Mhm.
quiet, and so I made a commitment to myself. I said, well, whenever I get a wife in a family, well, one of the things I'm not going to do is not talk to them.
Mm.
Right.
And so had I known that some of the things that he was dealing with could have helped me, you know, a lot in terms of but because he was quiet and
Mhm.
because everything, we never missed a meal. I never saw, you know, them argue. I never said, unless they did it late at night when everybody was asleep. You know what I mean? He took her, you know, around the corner or something, you know what I mean? So I was kind of like thinking, all right, marriage, once you get married, you know, everything just comes together, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But had I, if I could have relived and had things, you know, my way, I would have been taking down notes and asking questions.
That is the question. I think that's pretty cool. All right, Byron. I mean, you married young. What do you wish you would have known before you stepped into matrimony? I see Tamara. I gotta ask Tamara, what does she wish? Great.
Camera looking like.
Oh yeah, Tamara. Can I call you Tammy? We call you Tammy. Yeah,
Yeah,
Tammy.
that's fine.
Okay.
For me, I think for me, because I was a quiet person, I think I wish I would have had the knowledge of just kind of voicing what I felt in the moments. 'Cause a lot of times, a lot of stuff I kind of just blew off. Oh no, maybe that's not that. But it was kind of discernment, showing me things that I was trying to, you know, deny. No, that's not what I just saw. But just kind of go with it and just bring it up in those moments that it happened, because it would have saved me a lot of heartache. I felt like the Holy Spirit was showing me things when things were actually happening.
Yep.
And I was just like, no, that's not what that was. And just kind of turning my eye the other way, like, oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
So yeah, so just kind of go and just, okay, when you get that feeling, when the Holy Spirit said, hey, that's what it is, you know, and just address it again, you know. Like you said, Cicely, it would kind of put that buffer in between stuff coming between your marriage. So early on.
Wow.
All right, that sounds awesome. What about Cicely and Brian?
Wait, Byron wanted to say something. Okay, Byron, what?
Oh, sorry, Byron. Go ahead, Byron.
No, it's okay. I talked too much. I talked too much already. So
No. Session, and we'll have another session. Another session.
for sure,
Yeah.
we'd love it. All I was
Okay.
gonna say is I just wish that somebody would have told me to get yourself together before bringing another human being into your life.
Yeah,
Mind blowing. Oh, yes.
yes.
And not on some surface, but just sit down and say, hey, don't do this, don't do that, but do this, do that
Right.
instead.
Right.
Okay? Because when somebody tell you to don't do something, you automatically in your mind, you're gonna want to do it. So I wish someone would have said, hey, do this to prepare yourself for a woman to be in your life. Do this. Get yourself together, son. Don't get out here and pull somebody else into your mess.
That's very good. That's very good.
Yeah.
That's good.
That's
very
very
valid.
good. Yeah.
All right, Brian and Cicely.
I think for me, just learning how to be truthful with myself first.
Ooh,
because we again, it's the facade. And that facade comes without you really planning on it, because you don't want anybody on the inside. You don't want anybody to see chinks in your armor. So you're constantly always trying to be this big brawler. And honestly, I'm a sensitive guy. I cry at movies. I just things move me. And nobody will see that outside of this house. I'll deny it. But I've done it outside of the house too. It's like they don't. But to be truthful with myself, I think going into a marriage, you have some things that you want to happen, and when those things don't happen, you're as she was saying, Tammy said, you just brush it off. And I need to really take that into consideration. Say, why am I feeling this way? Why am I not happy? But we're just trained to go on. We don't ever stop and get off the carousel or the roller coaster and focus on us. And that's I'm gonna put a part B to that. Take time for yourself too.
Yes.
Because man, so much time passed us by being married young. We didn't take trips. We were just pushing ourselves. We went to parties. Y'all got kids? You got kids? Okay, we'll come. You ain't got no kids, we ain't coming. Those times we could have got somebody to watch those kids.
Yeah.
We needed time for us. But we were just so driven on pushing ourselves to be, I came up in the era of parenting magazines, and I would take the magazines out of the Lamar's classes, and I would read stuff to her all night long because I wanted that first child to be perfect. My son, I don't know how he made it, but my first child, we made the baby food. We did all the stuff that the Einstein stuff. My son just, I don't know, he just made it. But
We did a few things.
Yeah, we did a few things. But we were just so driven on that part of it and never took time for ourselves. Those would be the two things. Be truthful to yourself, take time for yourself.
good.
Love it.
That's very good.
I love it.
That's good. Yeah. But unfortunately, when man come, he ain't gonna have that luxury. We ain't gonna have no time to yourself. Look, we got this.
Right.
All the time. It ain't gonna be none of that, Byron. None. It's gonna be up here all the time.
And when your kids are older, are you finding that you're relearning yourselves?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a child rearing y'all and an empty nester y'all. And
Oh my gosh.
For sure.
Yeah. That's something I think, Beryl, that you probably should put on your list that we can talk about too.
Yeah.
This whole
All right, we're gonna talk about that.
Yes.
And I hope William's writing that down. And the next thing we're gonna talk about, at the end of our hour, is about purpose.
This week, she hadn't finished.
But wait, Cicely was gonna say something. Hold on, Cicely, I jumped in.
I was just gonna piggyback off of what Tammy said about listening and trusting yourself, and then being transparent and open and honest. I think because in my household, my parents, they didn't really talk to each other. They kind of talked at each other. And it wasn't like it was confrontational or anything, but I'm not sure if you got a lot of things resolved because people were, I want to say, making up their own versions of the truth. If that makes sense. My mom might, and I love my parents. They still married. It'll be 50 years. But just the marriage itself, I don't know if that communication was there. She was thinking that he was one way, and he's not like that. When you talk to my dad personally, you feel like he's just a nice little teddy bear. He's very nice and kind, and he'll talk to you and explain. But in her mind, she saw something else based on her experience. And even now, I have to encourage her, Mom, all you gotta do is talk to him. But that's the type of stuff that I feel that if I was younger, because I saw certain things, and then when we got married, we saw things in our parents' relationships that we said, you know what, we're not gonna do that.
Right.
And we made a pact with ourselves that we're not gonna do that. We see that don't really work, so we're gonna have to, do it a different way. So that's what we did. But I feel like, in some instances, I find myself reverting back to what I saw. And so I may not be as open and transparent and honest and communicate about certain things that I'm feeling. I'll be like, that's all right. Let me pray about it. Prayer works. That's true. But still, sometimes you got to talk it out with the person.
That's right.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Because what I have a tendency of doing is I'm just gonna pay it no mind.
Yeah.
That's the worst thing. Yeah.
So I'm not gonna pay it any mind. I'm not gonna pay. I'm gonna ignore it for peace. And then what happens after that.
Yeah.
Sister Soldier comes on the scene.
Just the soldier come out, yes.
I don't know, he's been calling me Harriet Tubman. I can't hear it. And that's a compliment or not. Harriet is here.
Woman called Moose.
I just talk over there. Telling me that.
Good. That's good. That's good.
I want to thank you all for giving me this time, for showing up. I have enjoyed you all so much.
Mhm.
And we're going to talk about some other things I think are very important, like do individual marriages have purpose? And then,
Wow.
and then we're going to talk about any other thing that Willeen, her set of questions. He says, Tia.
You confusing.
Tia.
the audience.
Okay, I'm Willeen, but that's my government name. But everybody calls me Tia.
Right.
Yeah.
That's it.
So I don't go by my government name all the time.
And so I want to thank you all for this marriage and relationship. You all have been so authentic, so awesome. God bless you. Until we meet again,
Yes.
we will coordinate that. And I'm excited. What about you, Thomas?
Oh, very much.
Everybody have a great time.
Thank y'all.
I enjoyed this.
Yes.
Awesome.
Great session.
Nice
All
meeting
right.
you.
Hey, nice meeting you guys. This is
Yeah.
fantastic.
So,
Thank you so
Love
much.
talking
Yeah.
to you
Love you
all.
all.
Okay, good night.
All right.
good night.
Let us know. All right.